Welcome to the first episode slash pilot for Bestiary Randomizer. Basic idea for this is I'm going to take some dice, I'm going to roll it, and that's going to help me determine what volume and page of the Bestiary that I have. I'm using Pathfinder. I have the original editions. So first one I have is Volume 1, page 82. I also have the more updated bestiaries too, just to compare and contrast to. Okay, pause that. Okay, the monster that is on page 1 or 082, so 82, is the Devourer. So I do have also the more updated bestiaries, which is kind of interesting because this one isn't in Bestiary second edition, volume 1. This is in Bestiary volume 2. So I was like, oh, that's interesting that they decided not to include it in the same volume number. So I'll just read the little flavor text of like actual information about them, not just going over all the stats and everything else. The Devourers are the undead remnants of fiends and evil spellcasters who became lost beyond the furthest reaches of the multiverse, returning with warped bodies, alien sentiences, and hungry for life. Devourers threaten all souls with a terrifying, tormented annihilation. These withered corpses stand 10 feet tall and weigh a mere 200 pounds. Oh, wow. Yeah, that is really skinny. So there is some differences in the pictures, too. Devourers in second edition, their chest looks like they're glowing and they actually have like smoke coming out of their mouths. Devourers in the first edition actually looks like the souls that are inside of them are kind of reaching out. They don't really glow either. Oh, it also has smoke coming out of its mouth. I'll read the flavor text for the first one, for second edition, if I can learn how to talk. When fiends and powerful evil spellcasters are lost beyond the furthest reaches of the multiverse, they sometimes return as horrifying undead called Devourers that consume the souls of the living to fuel their arcane machinations. Their bodies are ruined and rebuilt, hollow and twisted, even as their minds undergo spiritual transformation. They gain the ability to bind other souls to their own and drain their essence and magical power, yet can never be sated in their pursuit of it. Seething masses of distorted, ghostly shapes surge within their hollow rib cages. Manifestations of the Devourer's most recently consumed souls. Soul swallowers. The fact that the Devourers consume souls make them particularly hated by the Church of Phasma and psychopomps alike. It's kind of interesting. In the first edition, the flavor text of like any kind of backstory, anything else is last, and in this one, it's first. But both are still CR rating, or creature rating, actually, 11. And yeah, they have all the different stat blocks. Powers, Devour Soul, and still there. Drain Life. Oh, no, that's not... First edition doesn't have that. Soul Spells. But yeah. That's that one. So I'm also going to be... one of the ideas was this idea of talking about the biological likelihood of these things to actually exist. So, it's magic. If there is magic in the universe, which, as far as we know, there isn't, like, scientifically speaking, then no, these particular types of undead or undead in general, probably don't exist. Because we need something to actually animate these things and keep going and allows them to repair. So yeah, I don't think the likelihood of these ever actually existing is very high. But then, let's say they do exist. I guess, yeah, their ecological niche would be also be more in the spiritual concept of, wandering soul. Like maybe there's only, like, if it's the concept of, is there going to be something that's gonna free these souls, or what happens to these souls? Now, if it's like, against the grand plan or against nature, if you want to say, then yeah, these things are definitely going against it or something like that. I don't know. But let's try this again, see what happens. Probably normally on each episode I'd probably only do one, but who knows? Maybe I'll do more depending on how this is received. Okay, so now I got volume 3, 236. Okay, let's see if I can find that one. Okay, for volume 3, page 236, we got the Sasquatch. The elusive Sasquatch earns their mysterious reputation. Rightly, they live in unpopulated forests and avoid confrontation with humanoids, only becoming violent when they feel threatened, when their territory is encroached upon, or when they feel they must protect their young. Left to their own devices, Sasquatch families are perfectly content to live their lives in the deep woods, leaving behind little to no trace of their passing, save for the periodic big footprints in the ground. Despite their considerable bulk, Sasquatches are incredibly stealthy creatures, capable of moving through forest, in particular with astonishing grace and efficiency. The one trait that somewhat undermines Sasquatch stealth is their distinctive odor, a pungent, musky scent that is often noticeable even when hidden Sasquatches are not apparent. The elusiveness of Sasquatches is that even in the world where dragons, sea monsters are real, many urban scholars doubt the existence of these creatures, citing the lack of evidence of Sasquatch lairs, or remaining as proof of their non-existence. In truth, Sasquatches are simply far more efficient at living in harmony with nature than most humanoids could ever hope to be. To a Sasquatch, a deadfall in a forest makes a perfectly fine home. When a Sasquatch dies, its kin takes pains to bury the body deep and hide all trace of the gravesite, to protect the remains from scavengers and evil spirits alike. The Sasquatch tongue is a relatively complex language that mixes vocalization, howls, knocking, and the act of striking solid surface, like a tree or a boulder, with a club or a stone, and thus tend to blend in with the ambient sounds of the forest. A Sasquatch is 8 foot tall and weighs 570 pounds. Rural populace often have fond nicknames for these creatures, such as Wild Man, Skunk Apes, and perhaps most popular, simply Bigfoot. So yeah, these guys are not in 2nd edition yet. So there's that. So technically speaking, Sasquatches, there is no issue with Sasquatches being on our planet. The main issue is them hiding. There's no good real reason for that to be a thing that we haven't found them yet, especially since they tend to be in areas that were also very common to find humans. And also, one of the interesting things is most great apes are in the tropical zones. So the fact that how they are always depicted in like a lot of folklore is in colder environments, that's a little weird, especially since if they don't leave any evidence, that would mean that they wouldn't be leaving the fire pits that they would have to be using to stay warm. Because, gorillas are also covered in fur or hair, and they don't like it that cold either. But yeah, the ecological niche that they could be filling would be, something very similar to a non-apex predator, because, these wouldn't be considered apex predators. They would be considered, threats to some apex predators, but, they also probably would have very similar diets to us, and they would not be considered true carnivores because of they wouldn't be only meat eaters, probably. Basically, with the show, I just wanted to give people some ideas on the creatures in the bestiary for Pathfinder. Give them ideas for their shows or their campaigns, anything like that, from like hopefully more obscure creatures. Because hopefully I'll get through the books. That'd be kind of cool. That I have enough people that want to keep listening. So any kind of constructive criticism would be appreciated. And one of the things is for this, if it does pick up or if I ever do this again, I do plan on reading the descriptions a lot more than I did today. But yeah, my basic plan was to do something that was quicker and easier, minimal editing and everything else. And hopefully there would be an intro song and an outro song. But yeah, as of right now, it's pretty raw. But yeah, any kind of help or would be helpful. Bye.